being lonely. Everybody tells you the same thing when you're lonely. Get out of the house, put yourself out there, go meet people, go talk to some girls, try to make some friends, get out of your comfort zone. Now, that advice is not wrong. Most of the time, people say it with good intentions. And honestly, they're probably right. You do need to leave the house. You do need to talk to more people. You do need to stop waiting for your life to magically change while you're sitting in your dark room doing nothing. But what I don't think people understand is how hard that advice actually is when you're the one who has to do it. Because, quote unquote, putting yourself out there sounds so simple when it's coming from the outside. And I myself have even given the same advice. I've told people you need to get out more, meet people, stop sitting around and just try it. And there's truth to that. But it feels completely different when you're the one actually doing it. It sounds so simple, like you just got to go somewhere. You just got to talk to a few people, make a couple of friends. Maybe I'll even meet a girl. And then slowly my life going to get better. But in real life, it does not feel like that. It feels awkward. It feels forced. It feels like you're trying to enter a world that everybody else has already got invited to before you showed up. And the worst part is, even if you actually do it, even if you get out of the house, talk to people, go on dates, try to make friends, and force yourself out of your comfort zone, there's still a chance you'll end up in that lonely, dark room, home alone, feeling just as lonely as you did before. And I've been there. So let me put you a little in my shoes. At the time I was 22, I had just gotten broken up with that. And on top of that, I had no friends. And I'm not saying that to trauma dump or make anybody feel bad for me. I'm saying it because I think a lot of people end up in that same spot at some point where you're not completely helpless, but you're just lost. You don't really know where to go. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know how to rebuild your social life when the one you had is gone. So I did what probably everybody does when they get to this point. I asked family, I asked strangers, I even asked the internet, and everything told me the same thing. Get out of the house, put yourself out there, go meet people, talk to girls, try to make friends, get out of your comfort zone. And so I did. I started going to places alone. I started trying to talk to people at college. I would try to start random conversations. I would try to talk to girls. I would go to the cafeteria and try joining a table or finding a way into a conversation. But see, the thing that nobody tells you is a lot of people may not be as welcoming as you think they're going to be. And at the same time, if that's the reason you're scared to talk to people, you got to overcome that, right? But I'll save that for another video. And I don't mean all of this in a hateful way. Most people are not evil. Most people are not trying to be rude. But a lot of people, they already have their group. They already have their routine. They already have the people they sit with, talk with, walk with, text, and hang out with. So when you're the random guy going up trying to start a conversation, it can feel like you're trying to break some invisible rule. Some will be open to you, some will not. That's just the truth. But it seems like if you're not in the same class, or you don't have mutual friends, or there isn't some obvious reason you're supposed to be talking, people can look at you like, why are you talking to me? And that's where putting yourself out there starts to feel strange because everyone tells you to do it. But when you actually do it, sometimes the world acts like you're weird for trying. As far as talking to girls, I've tried that too. And fortunately, I did get some dates, had some good conversations, even had some really bad ones, and some moments where I thought maybe something could happen. But nothing has turned into anything meaningful yet. And when that keeps happening, you start to feel like you're doing what you're supposed to, but you're still not getting anywhere. You're leaving the house, you're talking to people, you're trying. You're not just sitting there around complaining, but it just seems like nobody's letting you in. Nobody's letting you in their group and everything. So you still end up alone or still feel like you are alone. And when you don't have many friends, it's going to lead you to start doing things by yourself, which, don't get me wrong, is a very good thing. Learning how to do things alone is important, And at some point, I'll make a video about that in itself, like I've mentioned. But there's a difference between choosing to be alone, right? And feeling like alone is your only option. Because eventually you start to ask people how to meet women or how to be more social. And sometimes a lot of the answers you hear is like go to bars, go to clubs. There's a lot of answers, a lot of things people say, some good, some bad. But one of the common ones is people will recommend going to a bar or a club. And going to a club alone is an experience because from the outside, you're thinking you're going to be confident. You're that guy because like you're going in there alone. You might even be very anxious. And sometimes when you get there, it could feel different. You don't know what outcome you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to, be very anxious and not talk to anybody. You're the weird guy in that corner, or if you're going to be social and meet people. You don't know how it's actually going to go until you're in there. You know what I mean? So you walk in and people might be in their own groups, music loud, drinking, friends, whatever thing. I'm not going to get into that, but you're in there, you might be sitting in a corner and you're thinking like, man, I just gave myself a motivational speech in this car 5 minutes ago. Like I gotta do something, at least if you were me. And so now you know that you have to go approach women, start conversations, be confident in everything, right? And a lot of the times in these settings, people tell you, just ask a girl to dance. And a lot of the times it really is that simple, right? And if she says yes, you're good. If she says no, you walk away, right? So that night, I had went up. I had asked a girl to dance. It was a group of girls. I approached them and I talked to the whole group as a whole because sometimes individualing somebody out, it's kind of odd. Like I want the friends to like me in case this goes good. So the friends are like, oh, like encouraging her to get with me or whatever, right? So I find out that the girl I'm trying to get with is actually somehow the only single one in the group, right? All her friends was like, yeah, she's single, right? So I ask her to dance. She says yes. And for a second, it felt like in that moment, like, oh man, this is working, right? Then in the middle of us dancing, some dude walks in, right? And this girl literally pushes me away, takes off full sprint, running, screams his name, jumps. You would have thought she was Jordan the way she jumped. She jumps, lands in this guy's arm. And keep in mind, she didn't have a boyfriend. Who was this guy? She was the only single one in her friend group. And this guy catches her straight, palming them cheeks, like gripping his cheeks. He just wanted to raffle something. And I'm sitting there like, damn, all right, bet. Like, because what are you, what are you supposed to do after that? You know? Because you finally did the thing everybody told you to do. You went out, you approached, you asked somebody to dance, you didn't overthink it, and then somebody she just pushes you away mid dance so she could jump in another guy's arm. Like that's the stuff that makes you not want to try anymore. And yeah, it's honestly a funny story looking back, but in the moment it did not feel funny. Like I left. I felt so weird. I felt so embarrassed and I left because it felt like I forced myself out of my comfort zone and got reminded of why I shouldn't have left or went there in the first place, right? And that's the kind of stuff that can make you feel more lonely than if you just had stayed at home. Because at least when you're at home, it makes sense that you feel alone. But when you're surrounded by people and still feel alone, that feeling hits different. And after a while, it can make you want to stop trying to get a relationship, trying to get friends, whatever type of connection you're looking for. It's going to make you want to stop because you don't want to get humiliated anymore. And it starts to feel like every interaction is a reminder that you're not where you want to be yet. But honestly, guys, there's a whole other side to it because let's say you actually do make a friend. Let's say you meet somebody, you hang out, you have some laughs, and you start doing things together. And on paper, it looks like you're not alone anymore, at least from the outside. But deep down, I understand you might still feel alone because being around people does not automatically mean you feel close to them. There's levels to friendship, you know? And sometimes people only know the version that you're trying to present yourself that day or how you're acting. And nobody wants to go past that. Like I've had this happen a lot in my life where I'm my outgoing, funny self, and well, people like me. But if I'm just not that one day, people don't like being around me. It makes sense, but it's kind of frustrating. I get it because, it feels you're going out there, you're meeting a lot of people, and if you're successful like I was, you're making a whole bunch of connections, but you still have no friends. Like, you know all these people, but nobody's asking you to really hang out. Nobody's asking, like, no, you know what I'm saying? And that brings me to the part that, like, I think a lot of people miss that loneliness is not always about having people around. Sometimes loneliness is doing all the right things, being around people, talking, dating, going out, making friends, and still feeling like there's a wall between you and somebody else. So when people say the saying, just put yourself out there, I understand what they mean. But I also think we need to be honest about what that actually feels like because putting yourself out there is not always just some fun self improvement montage. Yeah, sometimes it's going to be awkward. Sometimes it's going to be embarrassing. Sometimes it's going to make you feel worse before you feel better. But do not act like it's pointless because it's not. Even if it doesn't instantly fix your loneliness, there's still something valuable about doing the thing you were scared to do. There's still something valuable about going out, talking to people, trying to make friends, learning how to be alone, and proving to yourself that you can survive in these uncomfortable situations. Maybe the first time you put yourself out there, nothing changes. It might not even change the second, third. You see what I'm saying? But one day you're going to go home feeling awkward, embarrassed, rejected, or even more alone than you were before. But every time you do it, you learn something. You learn how people work. You learn what situations are actually like. You learn how to handle rejection without it destroying you. You learn how to sit with yourself. You learn that confidence is not always feeling good. Sometimes confidence is just willing to feel comfortable and still show up anyways. Saying I hear a lot is confidence is just trust within yourself. If you could trust yourself to go up there and start the interaction in the first place, even if it doesn't go bad. You had that trust to go do it, right? And that matters a lot because getting around people is one thing. And of course, feeling connected to them is something completely different. But sometimes getting around people is the first step. I'm not going to say sometimes, like it is the first step. And honestly, at the same time, learning how to do these things alone can be one of the most beneficial things in your life. And if you want a video of learning how to do these things alone and be comfortable with them, I can definitely make that. I've done a lot of things like rejection therapy, uh, going out doing all these things by yourself. Like I said in this video, literally went to a club by myself. So I've put myself in these situations. So if y'all want a video about them, I mean, I don't mind making it. And I hope this wasn't just some scattered massive yapping thing that didn't make no sense. I hope somebody got the point I was trying to make here, even if it was a little scattered. So remember, you'll never be as young as you currently are today again. So y'all go live life, man. Have fun. It's been your boy JJ Yaps. Love y'all, man.